I'm going to show you how to communicate with a spirit right now. My name is August. I teach spirit communication without all the woo and mystery. And I'm going to show you how to communicate with the spirit world just as good as any psychic medium you've ever seen. If you buckle up and you stay with me, this is going to be a long video because it's a full training. If you buckle up, you stay with me, you watch this to the end, you ask questions, you're going to see that you can connect with the spirit world. Make sure that you leave me some comments because I'm going to go back and I'm going to be answering questions. So first, I'd like to tell you a little bit about my story. I didn't believe in any of this stuff. I didn't believe in spirit communication. I didn't believe in spirituality. I didn't believe in any of this. In my mid-30s, I experienced a loss through an ending of a relationship. And that was my spiritual awakening. And what happened is that I was in my living room one day. It was probably the lowest point of my life at that time. And I look over in my living room and there's two spirits there that have physically manifested themselves. Never seen anything like this before. And so I think I'm going crazy. I look away and I'm like, it's not there. This isn't real. I look back over, one of the spirits leans down towards me and says, we are real and we need to talk to you right now. And I said, no way in hell. And I ran out of my house, okay? And I was scared. I thought it was going crazy. So I did the only thing that I knew how to do, knew what to do or what would come to mind. And I called my therapist, right? This is a licensed mental health counselor, right? Thinking that she's gonna send me to the loony bin, all right? So anyway, she tells me, all right, we'll come in right away. She had some time. And so I went and saw her. And she starts talking to me about spiritual awakening. And I'm like, what is that? And how do I stop it? Right? And she starts to talk to me more and tell me about mediumship and talk to me about, this is a licensed mental health counselor, right? I interviewed tons of people before I actually chose her years earlier. And lo and behold, I've been seeing her this whole time and she is very spiritual. Okay. And I had no idea. We never talked about that stuff, but she was there in place when I needed it. All right. And so anyway, she got me totally calm about things, right? I had a full understanding of what was going on before I left her office, although I was still very uneasy, right? I was still afraid to confront these spirits, but I decided to go home anyway. And they weren't there. I couldn't feel them. So I went to bed. I woke up the next morning and I could feel them there. I couldn't see them, but I could feel them. And all I really felt in that first moment was how much they cared for me, how much they loved me, and how much they just wanted help. And so that was a really good feeling for me. And it didn't scare me. It didn't startle me. So we started to talk. I start to talk to these two spirits. I have no idea how it's happening. I have I'm not moving my mouth. It's all happening internally, right? I'm talking to these spirits. They're talking to me. I'm hearing them. We're having this flowing conversation. It's back and forth. It's just as easy as any other conversation I'm having, but it's like all internally. And I know for sure that it's not my thoughts. I know there is no doubt. It is undeniable. And it's all just happening. I had no idea how, all right? And so basically, they told me, they said, go get some stuff. We need you, go get a piece of paper. We need you to write some stuff down, right? And so I did. I wrote stuff down for 3 days. I filled up a bunch of notebooks. It was crazy information that I had no idea half of it, you know, what it was and what it all meant. The other half, a lot of it was about me and my past and specifically my childhood. And then a lot of it was about what the future and like the vision of what was being held for me to do. And it just didn't make sense for me. All right. And so this went on for 3 days. Also, over the course of these 3 days, every spirit, every person that I knew that had passed up until that point had come to visit me. All right. And we had some beautiful interactions, okay, during these 3 days. We were talking to each other. We were, you know, some spirits, some of my friends and family were coming to reconcile. Some came because they were missing me. I was talking to them about what was up on the other side, what they were up to, right? And we just had friendly visits, right? It was amazing. It was beautiful, okay? But at the end of that 3rd day, I woke up the next morning on the 4th day and it was all gone. Everything was silent. There were no spirits. There were none of my spirit guides, the ones that manifested themselves. They were a couple of spirit guides, but they weren't there. I couldn't feel them. I couldn't feel the presence of the spirit world anywhere. Where for those 3 days, no matter where I went, I felt presence all around me. I didn't have that feeling of connectedness anymore. It was completely gone. And so like thinking that it would come back and thinking that I would, that it was just them not visiting. And so I waited about a week and nothing happened. And so during that week, I was researching, I was trying to figure out what was going on, and I decided that I needed to learn this. I needed to figure out, I had this burning desire within me to figure out how to get this back, how to connect with the spirit world. How do I do this? And so I went on a 2-year journey doing everything that you're supposed to do. Right? I read a book a week. I took all the courses. I traveled the world, going to retreats. I worked with everybody, including many big name mediums that are out there. All right. Written books, been on TV shows. I've worked with them directly, lots of them. And I did this over the course of 2 years. This was the only thing that I did. I dedicated myself 100% to trying to figure out how to communicate with the spirit world for 2 years. I even went overseas to the UK and I studied at the Arthur Findlay College. For those of you who don't know what that is, this is a world-renowned psychic and mediumship school. This is the Holy Grail. This is where you go if you want to be a professional psychic medium. It's like real world Hogwarts for the Harry Potter fans out there, all right? And so I even studied there. I did all of it. And then after that trip is when I had the realization that it just wasn't happening like it was those 3 days. During this 2-year journey, I met so many amazing people. I had some really cool experiences, but I experienced nothing even close to what I did those 3 days, okay? There was some communication, there was some connection, it was here and there, it was random, it happened, I had no control over it. Most of the time it wouldn't even work when I was trying, all right? And so out of those 2 years, I was so discouraged because nothing, right? I did everything that you're supposed to do, everything, okay? And it just wasn't working for me. All right. And so in that moment, there was a moment where I was just like completely discouraged and ready to give up, but I couldn't. I just couldn't. There was that fire inside me that was like, you need to keep going and push through. And so I didn't know what to do. So I did the first thing that I could think of. I was like, this stuff that I learned these 2 years, it didn't work. Goodbye. I'm throwing it away. I'm going to wash my mind of it all. And I'm going to try and figure this out on my own. And so that's exactly what I did. For the next couple of weeks, I analyzed those first 3 days. I obsessed about it for 24/7. I mean, I had dreams about it. I woke up in the middle of the night from sleeping. I just could not stop analyzing those first 3 days. I was like reflecting on well, what did it feel like when I first woke up that morning and I sensed them? What did that first piece of communication feel like? What was I thinking? What was I saying? Where was I? What state of mind was I in when they spoke to me? What did I feel? Did I feel something first? Was it in a different part of my body? What was going on? And so I fixated on this. And what ended up happening is that I would have an insight, right? The number one insight that I had that I was going with was, before I learned anything, it happened effortlessly. It was undeniable. It was flowing. There was no doubt. I had complete control. I could talk to them whenever I wanted to, and it was just fluent. And so my understanding, the approach that I took in analyzing those 3 days was that it's easy. This is simple, all right? And if I could do this before I knew anything, it's got to be easy. All right. And so with that mindset and analyzing and tracking what happened and what those 3 days looked like, I started to have some insights. And so I would attempt to connect the spirit world, applying those insights. Some of them would work and some of them wouldn't. I was quick to let go of what didn't work, and the things that did got me a step closer. And so every time I had an insight, I applied it, I got a little closer. I applied it, I got a little closer. I applied it, I got a little closer. I applied it, my experiences kept getting deeper and deeper. And with each new experience, it left something new for me to analyze and kind of pick apart, right? Completely analytical, left picking these experiences completely apart. But that's what allowed me to keep having these insights and go deeper every time I had a new one, okay? And so I did this for the next 7 years. 7 years, blood, sweat, and tears, analyzing, going deeper, throwing stuff away, experimenting, playing around, doing all of this stuff. And over those 7 years, at the end of it, I figured out, I got it back just like I did those first 3 days. All right. It was simple. It really was simple. And that's what it all boiled down to today. And I'm going to show you what I learned over those 7 years and what you can skip all of that. You don't have to go through the 2 years plus the 7, right? The 2 years that I did learning all the other stuff and then the 7 that I did analyzing it. You're going to get it way faster than 9 years. Stick around and you'll get it by the end of this video. But anyway, so what happened to me though is at that point when I had it, my life was fulfilled, right? My life was fulfilled. I didn't have any intention on teaching this. I didn't want to do any of this stuff. I didn't want to be on social media. I didn't want to do any of this, right? I was perfectly content and happy in my life. But what was going on is that I was going to a lot of these spiritual events locally in my area. And I would share about what I was experiencing with the spirit world. And what happened is that from me sharing my experiences, I guess I was talking about how I was doing it as well. Other people started taking that stuff and doing it. And then I would run into them later. They would be like, August, that stuff's working. You need to teach this. And like, I heard this for like a year straight. All right. You need to teach this. 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 So finally, reluctantly, I did hold my first workshop. And that's where everything changed. That's where everything changed for me. 20 people showed up and it was the most remarkable experience of my life. There was so much healing that went on. There was everybody connected. And I didn't even know how to teach this stuff then, but everybody connected and had these undeniable experiences. And it was the comment of one woman that changed everything. One woman that attended that first workshop that changed everything for me. She came up to me after everybody had left and she told me, she said, August, I just want to let you know that, 20 years ago, my husband died very tragically. And I have not been able to shake the feeling that he was still suffering and in pain in the afterlife, that he wasn't okay. And so for 20 years, I've been carrying this anxiety, this guilt, this grief that I have not been able to shake. And she said, August, I just want to let you know in this one workshop, it snapped me out of all of that because I undoubtedly connected with my husband. He told me that he did not suffer a bit, that he didn't suffer one day, that he is there in the spirit world happy and that he is with me. He confirmed all of the times that I thought that he was sending me signs, but I talked myself out of. He talked to me about what's going on in my life. He helped give me some advice like he always used to about things and decisions that are going on right now. Like she's crying, I'm crying, right? And so she tells me all of this stuff. And I'm listening and it's not processing, it's not registering in me. I'm just very emotional. And at the end of all of it, I knew what I was here to do. I knew that I was here to help people connect with the spirit world and spread the message that anyone can do it. Anyone. And that's what I want to show you today. All right. Because listen, the abilities that you need to develop in order to connect with the spirit world will change your life, not just allow you to communicate with the spirit world, but they'll change your life in so many ways, right? For me, I'm so connected with my own energy that I can go in with my abilities and I can feel the areas of life that need attention and what they need. I have been able to step out in my purpose and see my path with clarity. I live my life daily with so much meaning and purpose because I can feel what's pulling me and I actively move towards it rather than discounting and being in confusion and chaos. I can really feel and move into those areas of life. My relationships have completely changed because I'm more attuned to them, the needs of the other person, what's really going on with them when somebody like snaps or gets angry or mad. Like it's never about you, it's about something else. And so I'm able to give them what they need in that moment. And I'm so more available for my family and my friends and others that are out there, right? Not to mention that, it's pretty cool to connect with your spirit guides, anytime that you want. It's like you have these personal advisors, right? That you can access at any time. I connect with my loved ones whenever I want. Holidays, birthdays, they're there. We're visiting, right? Or if we just miss each other, we connect, right? The relationship continues, right? I don't have to go missing them, all right? So many things have changed for me and shifted for me, all right? But I would say the biggest shift that occurred for me is the increase in my quality of life, because I'm able to look at the energy of my decisions now and try and focus on that and make the best decision possible by looking down the trajectory of each decision, right? So I make better decisions, right? And that's been the single most thing that has changed my quality of life more than anything. And that can all happen for you as well. Believe me, I am not special. I'm not telling you this story. I'm not pretending to be somebody special. I'm just a regular ass guy. I've got a family. I've got friends. I've got bills. I got everything that you have. All right. I have struggles. I deal with it all. I am not somebody special. If I can do this, anybody can. Okay. Anybody. All right. So that's what I wanted to discuss. Oh, looking at my notes, the other thing too that I wanted to mention, this is probably a really important one too for a lot of you, because it was for me, is that now that I'm tapped in with my abilities, I can freely explore my own spirituality. All right. I don't have to go to a teacher and ask questions. I don't have to read a book and research. I'm going to just tap into the energy that connects us all to get those answers, right? Just like you can. Anybody can do this, right? And so, if I want to know things like what happens in the afterlife, I'm just going to go check it out, right? I'm going to project myself, right? What happens on the ninth dimension? Let's go hang out on the ninth dimension and see. All right. Okay. Who's my spirit guide? Hey, let's call him up, right? You have more than one, by the way. And so, your ability to freely explore spirituality completely untethered, completely on your own without the input of others. Most people get stuck in the old way. All right. But the truth is, the new way is simplicity. All right. So let me explain a little bit about what I mean. All right. So with traditional methods, I'm sure you all are familiar with it, right? We have to meditate. We have to align and balance chakras. Let's use a pendulum. Let's use these dowsing rods. Let's use these cards, right? I have to be spiritual. I have to raise my vibration. I have to insert, traditional spiritual buzzword here, right? I have to do all of these things, but you don't. You don't have to do any of that. You can go right into it. You can be talking like I am right now and connect immediately with the spirit. Just like even in that intention and me saying that, I can feel my guides right behind me. All right. Just with the intention of saying that, boom, they're there. We're talking. I can feel the spirit world all around me right now. And that's as easy. You all can do that too. You don't need to meditate, right? You can go right into it. Okay. And so let me tell you a story about how I instantly connect and how I figured out why you don't need any of this stuff. All right. And so it all started this one night. So for me, remember that 7-year journey I told you that I was learning and I was doing these insights and I was trying and I was analyzing, I was figuring it out. Well, along that 7-year journey, there was a period where I was going to a lot of mediumship circles where we would do practice readings, right? Where a bunch of aspiring mediums would get together and we would do practice readings on each other. And so I'd been doing that for a few years and I was absolutely terrible at it. Okay. It was so random for me. Only 1 out of 10 readings actually made sense a little bit for the person I was reading. Right. And I dedicated myself. I was a really good student. I was listening. I was paying attention. I was going along with the things that they were saying to do. Right. There was this whole process in these circles that we would learn to do. Right. We would have an opening prayer. We would do this protection thing. We would visualize our chakras opening. We would have visualized light around us. We would do this whole thing before we connected with the spirit. It took about anywhere between 10 to 15 minutes before I could actually communicate with the spirit. All right. But I was a good student. I wanted to follow it and I did for years. And But what I noticed is that a lot of the times when I was doing this thing and I was going through this process, I could feel the spirit there already. All right. And I was like, oh, let me get through this. I'm not ready yet. And hold on a second. And I would go through my thing and then be like, all right, let's go. And the spirit wasn't there. I couldn't feel it. I couldn't sense it. I didn't know what was going on. And so the reading was terrible, right? Because I felt the spirit. And so I went with it, right? But they weren't communicating back for whatever reason. I couldn't connect with them. And so I did this for a long time. And, it was every once in a while, I would feel the spirit there. And then, so I remember one day when everything changed, I sat down to do a reading. All right. I had sat down to give a reading, and I started to go through my process, and I feel the spirit there, and I'm doing the same thing. Hold on, wait a second. And I was like, you know what? Screw this. Let's go. Let's talk. Boom. Immediately the spirit starts telling me, hey, that's my friend of mine that you're reading for. We were friends in college. We had this falling out. I never talked to him again. We completely disconnected. I just want to let him know that I'm sorry. It was totally my fault. I take all responsibility. He was such a good friend. I should have never done any of that. Please let him know. And so I convey this information to the person I'm reading, right? And he goes, wow. He goes, yeah, that is really a situation I experienced in college. But, like he said, we haven't spoken. I don't even know if he's passed. Can you tell me a little bit about what he looks like right now? And I did. And so I saw him there. He was dressed in this gothic attire, like down to the Doc Marten boots. He had the mohawk. He had the black vest. He had the black leather pants. I mean, total gothic person. And so I described it. The friend was like, yeah, spot on. That's definitely him. And he goes, man, I wish I really knew, if he could pass, if he had passed or not. Can you ask him how he passed? And so I asked the spirit, and the spirit told me I was electrocuted. And I was like, what? I was like, I can't just say that you were electrocuted. You've got to give me details, bro. And so he did. He said, listen, I was in a car accident and I hit a telephone pole and it fell on top of the car, but I didn't die from the impact. I was actually fine. But when I got out of the car, I was electrocuted by the line that was down and I passed. And so I give this information to my friend, and he's like, wow, that's really sad. He's here, he's wanting to connect, and he's giving apologies, and he really passed. And he said, I tell you what, I can't confirm this or not, but this is definitely a situation that I relate to, but I can't confirm the details other than I had this friend that had a falling out, and you described him exactly how he looked. He said, I tell you what, though, I do know some people that are still in touch with the family. Let me reach out, and I'll get back to you next week. Well, next week rolls around and I walk in the door at the center we're at, and he's got this big smile on his face. Can't wait to see me. He runs up. He's like, August, you're not going to believe this. I talked to the family. He did pass shortly after we had our falling out. And get this, he died from a power line after a car accident. And I was like, blown, mind blown. Best reading I had ever done up until that point. Mind blown. And I'm like, I get the chills right now. I could feel him in here with me. Mind blown. Okay. And so what ended up happening in that moment, I knew. I was like, I will never prepare to do another reading. I'm just going to go in and I'm just going to ask the spirit to be there and talk. Right? I'm just going to ask the spirit to be there and I'm going to talk. I'm not doing any of these rituals and chakras and, protecting myself with light. I'm just going in and doing it. All right. And that's what I've done ever since. And it's been a game changer. And that's exactly what I teach, want y'all to do as well. So remember, okay, keep it simple. Forget the meditation. Just go right into it. Ask the spirit to show itself and go. All right, you'll feel its energy. All right. So isn't that refreshing? That was so refreshing for me, right? That I didn't have to do any of that complex stuff, those weird spiritual rituals, right? Tell me, isn't that refreshing? Isn't that good to know that you don't have to do any of that stuff and that it still can happen and it actually happens easier and faster? I just want to talk to the people out there who say, okay, I believe spirit communication is easy. I believe what you're saying, August, and it is easy for everyone else except me. I'm going to be the one person that can't do it, even though it's so easy. Be honest. Who's thinking that right now? I was that person too, okay? I was with you. I was in that camp. So let me grab your hand and pull you out of that hole, okay? Because you can. You can. All right. And as a matter of fact, that's the number one thing that most of my students, when they come into one of my programs, that they tell me, August, I've been watching you for so long. Your stuff is great, but I'm the one person that's going to do this program and it not work for. And it's amazing. Like, we'll come in and within a month or so, they're like, wow, okay, I'm reading people with 99% accuracy, right? And so it's crazy to watch the transformation and how quick it happens once you let go of that. Once you let go of that belief. All right. So those of you that are in that hole where I was, thinking this is simple, believing that it's simple, but it just doesn't work for you, let's go ahead and smash that belief right now. All right. Because listen, I've seen it 1,000 times. All right. I've seen it 1,000 times. I've heard it 1,000 times. This won't work for me. All right. And what really gave me the confidence initially, because when I first started teaching this, I didn't know that it would work for everyone, right? I wasn't sure. As a matter of fact, I was pretty sure that it wouldn't work for everyone. But I remember when I was teaching, it was one of my first workshops that I was doing, right? I just started doing workshops, and this was probably like my third or fourth one. And so I really didn't have any confidence in myself to teach this, okay? But I was doing it anyway because I could feel the pull. All right, just get a sip of my water, guys. Excuse me. I could feel the pull, and I was doing it anyway. And so I remember in this one workshop where it was a weekend workshop that I teach, right? And what we would do is it was this like hybrid approach. It was group and individual, where I would help people connect with the spirit world, all right? And I would get them started as in a group, and then I would walk around and individually help them once they got started, all right? And so the method that we used is day one, where I would teach, and then day two is where we would do the experience, all right? But before when a workshop first began, we all kind of just talk, and we go around and we talk about our intention, why we're here, and we just kind of connect the energy, all right? We just kind of all connect together. And I remember it was like the third or fourth person to speak at this workshop. And this guy tells me, he's like, August, I don't believe in any of this. If any of it was real, I don't even think that you could connect or could teach other people, even though this isn't something. I just want you to see those two people over there. They drugged me to this workshop. We were looking for something to do this weekend. They're into it. I'm not. They made me come because I'm a friend. I'm a good friend. I showed up here, but I don't believe in any of this. And it's just complete nonsense. I can't believe you're saying that you can teach this to people. I don't believe you. And so this is the first time I ever had that level of a skeptic in a workshop. And so my reaction, I still to this day don't know where this came from, but my initial reaction was, listen, I told him, I said, okay, listen, I'm not here to change your mind. I'm not here to change your beliefs. That's fine if you don't believe in it. It's fine if you think that I can't do this, that I'm not teaching people. That's completely fine. I'm not here to change your mind on that. All I'm asking is, listen, you're here already, right? Why don't you get curious and ask yourself, what if? What if this is a possibility? What if you can actually do it? I'm sure there's somebody that's on the other side that you'd like to connect with. So I'll make you a deal. If you can put your beliefs aside for this weekend, listen, I'm not telling you to change them. I'm just telling you to put them aside. Don't worry, you can pick them back up after this workshop. But if you can put them aside and genuinely participate authentically, right? Really, really try, follow along with me, all right? And open yourself up to the possibility that this is something that's possible. If you can do that all weekend long, and you don't have an experience, I'll let you get up here at the end and make fun of me for the last 20 minutes. And this was a very talkative, funny guy. And he was like, deal. He took me up on it immediately. He was not a shy guy, right? He was really funny too throughout the workshop. But anyhow, So I was like, wow, okay, I can't believe he took that. I wasn't expecting that. And so I'm like, I'm for like 5 minutes, I'm like nervous, right? Listening to other people talk, like, man, what did I do? What did I get myself into? Right? And so anyway, I finally was able to let it go. And after everybody got done talking, we started the workshop. All right. And so we did the first day, second day rolls around. It's time for the experience. All right. I get everybody started. I go through the group thing, which takes about 20 or 30 minutes. You know, some people it happens a lot faster for, but when I'm working with a group, because it's not individual, I have to kind of be general and then start to go down and specific. Start to narrow it down and get more specific. And so I'm going general, and I can see this guy, he's in the back. He's really, really trying. I could tell that he's struggling, but he is definitely trying and making a valid effort. All right. And so I get the group starting. We're about 30 minutes in, and I walk back. He's the first person that I work with individually. And I start working with him, and I put my hand on his back, and I'm helping him. I'm kind of guiding him around different things. And he's like, August, look, man, I'm really trying. Like you said, like there is somebody on the other side that I want to connect with. And I'm putting my beliefs aside, and I do want to try this. And I said, all right, cool. And so we started working together, and I was working with him for about another 5 minutes. And then all of a sudden he sits up, takes a deep breath, tear rolls down his face. I see his mother come in, and I said, you've got it now. And I walked away, and I started helping other people. And I would always look back and check on him, and he's just in this deep experience, sobbing like good tears, right? Sobbing and smiling and laughing, and he's having the experience of his life, right? And so we get done with the whole thing. It lasts, right? I let everybody connect and stay with their loved ones as long as they like, right? And so as people wrap things up, we take break. They come out of the room, all right? He was one of the last ones to finish, okay? And out of everybody, all right? I think he was like the second to last person to finish his experience. And so after we got done, I was so curious to hear from him. After everybody gets done, usually we go get something to eat, and then we'll come back, and then we'll process the rest of the day. And this is where people just talk about their experiences. And a lot of times it's very emotional, right? A lot of times sometimes we connect with people that we need resolve from, or we need to say those things that we didn't say, or like, you know, or sometimes we haven't seen them in so long. There's so many different emotions that fly around. So we talk about it, we process, we help each other, you know, kind of get the experience out. All right, and process the experience, all right, and talk about it, right? There's a lot of happy stories. All of them are pretty much happy, but there's some that need processing. But anyway, so we work with a couple people, and then finally this guy's ready to share. He raises his hand after one of the people get done. He's like, August. He stands up and he goes, and I'm choking up just talking about it. He stands up and he says, August, thank you so much for inviting me to put my beliefs aside. I connected with my mother. She passed when I was young. I was about 8 years old. And there's so many things that I wanted to know about her. And I got a chance to do that here today. It was an unbelievable and incredible experience. Like, he's crying, he's tearing up, right? The whole room is tearing up, right? And you know, he's telling and he's sharing about his experience. It was so personal and intimate, and he got exactly what he needed from his mother, you know, and he just said, thank you. He said, like, I will never forget this. I will never forget you. And we still keep in touch now. He shoots me emails and we talk every now and then. He knows that I tell his story here. So good times, good people. But, you know, that in that moment gave me the confidence. I was like, dude, if this was a total non-believer, somebody that was skeptical about spirit communication, somebody that was skeptical about me, and they came in and did this, anybody can. Anybody can, right? I kind of got that feeling from my own experience, right? Because I was a non-believer and I was able to figure out how to connect and get there, right? But I wasn't confident that I could teach that to other people, right? And so, boom, you know? And it's not even that I really taught it to anyone. It's the experience does the teaching, right? I just helped kind of get you into that experience a little bit. And so when he got there, that showed me that literally anybody can do this. You believe that it's simple. You believe that you can do it. All right, we've addressed that. Now, It's time to address that person that's out there that has tried everything like I did and nothing's worked. Let me know who you are, please, because I want to talk straight to you. This next piece is for you, the one that has tried everything, all right? And maybe you're a mixture of all of these. Maybe you've gone through all of this stuff, right? But hopefully, if you're just coming into all of this and you're just start trying to connect with the spirit world, you don't get to that place where you have to try everything and it's still nothing, right? And so I want to talk to you too. I want to talk to those of you that are just starting to try and those of you that have been on this journey for a while and nothing has worked. So here's the thing. Remember how I was telling you how I went through my journey and I was analyzing my experiences and that I would have these insights, I would apply these insights, I'd go a little further, I would analyze these experiences more, I would get more insights, I'd go a little deeper, and I would keep going. I was tracking my progress as I was doing that, all right? And this is how I work with other students too. I was tracking my progress, okay? I was following it. I was like, okay, those last 3 things worked to get started. I'm going to do those 3 things every time. Boom, and then something else would happen. I'd be like, okay, cool. Now I have 4 things, right? And now I would do those 4 things every time something would happen. And then boom, it would happen again. And I would be like, what happens if I take that 5th thing that I was doing and put it in the 3rd position and put the 3rd position in the 5th thing? Boom, and I would go deeper because I'm experimenting, right? And so, but I'm tracking it. I'm tracking it. I'm charting it I don't know, like anybody's like a navigation system. Okay. I'm charting it. I'm following. I'm watching exactly what I'm doing. Right. And it wasn't until 7 years later, I got to that point where there was that last thing. There was that last piece when that puzzle clicked into place. It was like, boom. Everything came through, all the steps were there, everything was revealed, and boom, that was my path. That was my path to connect instantly, anytime, with any spirit and go into it and have a flowing, undeniable conversation where there is absolutely no doubt. And because I had tracked it that entire time, I knew what that path is. And once you know that path, you have it for life. It's your unique way of connecting. Nothing has worked for you because nothing has helped you find your unique way of connecting. That's why the courses don't stick. That's why all the videos that you watch aren't working. That's why the books that you read aren't helping. Sure, they'll let you have some experiences. They'll teach you how to go a little bit further. Things will be random. They'll kind of happen when they want or not, right? They'll be kind of whitewashed, right? But they're not going to get you to that level you're looking for. That undeniable flowing conversation with the spirit world, because even though they kind of go off of some sort of framework that help you have some level of experience, they're not helping you find your unique way of connecting. And that's the missing piece. That's what everyone needs to discover. Your unique way of connecting. There is literally nothing else that matters when it comes to spirit communication, is that you find your unique way. Okay. And the way that you do that, right? There's a couple ways. Okay. Is like how I did it, right? Just analyzing your experiences, right? Going back each time, following it, tracking it, right? And even no matter what the experience, even if it feels like you weren't doing it right, even if it feels like you're making it up, you analyze those times too. And then you analyze the times, those random times, something just happens. You just see that sign. You just have that feeling. That voice just comes. That presence you just feel. You analyze that every time. You analyze it every time and you start to see and you start to discover, because here's the thing. Listen, I can't write down some steps and say, here you go, follow this and it'll work for anyone. That's not the case. It doesn't work for everyone. There is no certain set of steps. There is no framework that works for everyone. I've worked with thousands of people and I've never seen 2 that connect in the same way, ever, not even once. All right. There are some similarities between people, but the path is never the same. And that's what you have to find. Your path, your unique way of connecting. Once you know what that is, you have it. You have it for life. It never goes away. It's the same every time. You instantly connect any spirit, anytime, undeniable, flowing conversation, anytime that you want it. All right. And so here's the thing. So like I mentioned, that's how you do it. All right, there's two ways, all right? The first way is that you analyze those experiences, all right? And listen, it's not gonna take you 9 years to do it and analyze those experiences, because I'm gonna give you something that I wish that I would have had when I was doing that, all right? If something doesn't work the first time, let it go and move on. You don't have to practice this. If something that you're trying does not work the first time, let it go, move forward. I was so busy and consumed with trying to make things work, and make sure that I tried everything and did everything around it and try to, this way, that way, this angle, up, down, up, left, right, every single way that I could before I let it go. And then I started to accelerate rapidly along my unique way of connecting once I let go of that dogma. Like, I'm just going to try it once and move on. And once I did that, it allowed me to have more, deeper, richer experiences that ultimately led me to my unique way of connecting. And so it's not going to take you the 9 years that it took me, as long as you can do that. Just try. That's why, listen, in my videos, they're all designed to help you find your unique way of connecting. All of my social media posts. It's not designed to say, here, do this and it's going to work. Do this. If it doesn't work, do that other video. Okay? If that other video doesn't work, do this other one. Okay? And keep trying. Keep bouncing around. Keep track of your progress. Analyze your experiences. You will get there. All right. So that's the other way. Now, the second way the way that my students are doing it, okay, is that I'm working with them. I'm literally holding their hand and walking them through that process. All right. I'm walking them right into that undeniable flowing conversation, and we're jumping all over the place. Boom, 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 boom. I feel like I'm making it up. I'm not getting anything, right? This is my thoughts. I'm all in my head. This isn't real. I'm making it up. Each time one of those pops up, we deal with it, and we go around and we go to the next thing. We go to the next level. We go deeper. We go deeper. We go deeper. And then I'm tracking it. The entire time I'm helping, I'm watching where the energy opens up. I'm watching where your energy shuts down. I'm watching what direction you go in when you feel certain energies, and where you're getting pulled, where you're getting pushed, how to take you deeper, where to go, right? And so when you finally walk right into that undeniable flowing conversation, boom, I tracked it like I tracked mine. And now we have your unique way of connecting. And now you have it for life. Okay, that's how you fast track the 9 years. That's how you do it way faster than 9 years. Okay, as you work, you get somebody to help you that's been there. Okay, and so that's exactly what I do in my mentorship program. So real quick, I'll tell you what it's like to work with me in my mentorship program. So what it is, we would work together over the course of 12 months. Okay, by the way, it doesn't take anywhere near 12 months to get this. All right, I'll get into that in just a second. But we'd work together over the course of 12 months, all right? And we would meet twice a month for 2 hours at a time. These are group coaching sessions. And this is unlike anything else that anyone else is doing, right? There is no curriculum. This isn't a course. In these sessions, we are going into it. You are communicating with the spirit world. You are connecting with your guides. You are reading your energy. You are discovering your purpose. You are discovering your path. You're figuring out issues in your life. You're reading your energy. We are actually doing it in these sessions. All right. You're not here to get information. I'm not here to teach you spirit communication. You don't need to learn spirit communication. People come into my mentorship for an experience. And that's what you get. You get to experience the spirit world, because you don't need more information. The experience is the teacher. Okay? The experience is the teacher. Whoever volunteers, I will hold their hand and walk them right into that undeniable experience, into a flowing conversation with any spirit, right there on the spot on the Zoom. We do it right there. Okay. And like I mentioned earlier, we're on that journey. We're all over the place. Bing, bang, bang, boom, boom, all over the place, right? Trying to figure it out, trying how to get there. And then boom, they get there, they have it. All right. Now, that first time. So now with most of my students, it takes 3 times working with me that way and boom, they're there. They've got it. They've got a solid foundation. All right. Now, the reason it happens so fast is because that first time we work together, it's by far is my favorite, right? By far is my favorite, right? Because the first time we worked together, mind blown. I didn't believe it was possible to connect with spirit in that way, right? That's what everybody says, right? It's just like, boom, you see what's actually possible. You see where you can take this, right? I've worked with professional students that have been doing this a long time that come through my program, just like professional psychic mediums that come through my program just to kind of fine tune. And even with them, the first time we work together, they're like, wow, August, I didn't believe that it was possible to connect on that level. And so that first time, you'll see what's possible. That second time we work together, you'll see that it's not some accident, that you actually can do this and that you can do it anytime that you want. And it's like the evidence that your brain needs. And right now you have a lack of confidence. And so when you give your brain that evidence, the confidence comes, boom. That's what you get that second time we work together. The third time we work together, what happens is that I really am not helping that much, if at all, right? You're kind of going and you're doing your thing. I may need to give you a nudge if you need, right? But what happens is because you already know your unique way of connecting, you know how it works and you've used it twice already. You have experience. You know what you're doing. That third time is gone. You're doing it. You don't need help, right? You're going to go home. Like I tell my students, at that point, you're 95% of the way there. You have a solid foundation, but 95% isn't good enough for me. Because what happens once this whole new world opens up to you, once you've created that solid foundation, is you're going to have very unique experiences that are unique to you. All right, you're going to go home, you're going to experience the spirit world, you're going to experience this whole new world that's opened up. You know, you're going to have like, you're going to go to connect with a loved one and 3 of them show up, right? You're going to want to know how to handle that. So you're going to come back in, we're going to fine tune, right? That's what we do with the rest of our sessions is we fine tune what's going on with you. All right. And you're going to have, you're going to be at a crossroads, right? With a decision, and you're going to start to, really dive into that decision and get some clarity. And you're going to want to come in and know how to be certain that that's the right decision. We're going to show you, we're going to do that. We're going to fine tune that, right? So the rest of our time together, we fine tune. All right. But remember, I told you, I want to be clear. You do not need anywhere near 12 months to get this at that 100% amazing, wonderful level. You don't. All right. The reason why I include a 12-month program is for a couple of reasons. Number one, is I never want to push somebody faster than their comfort, right? This is designed for any comfort level, right? I have some students that come in that are kind of like, it's their first time ever exposed to this. They don't really, they really need to warm up to it. They're not sure of themselves. They're not sure of this information. And so they kind of dip their toe in. They're warming up. They go through sessions. They may not participate the first few sessions. They may slowly warm up over time. And so if that's you, if you need to warm up, right? 12 months is way more than enough time to do this, okay? The other reason why I have such a big window is because of life, right? You don't need to attend any kind of session in order, right? If there's a scheduling conflict, if there's a last minute change, if there is a day you don't feel good, you never have to feel pressured to attend a session. This is completely a flexible program. If it lines up with your time, you come. If it doesn't, just come to the next one that does. Because here's the thing, there is no curriculum. There is no lesson that you're going to miss. All right, this is all tailored specifically for you. So if you don't feel up to it that day, you just come to the next one. Not to mention it's all recorded anyway. You're going to get a recording. You're going to get a recording of it regardless. All right. But I do want to say that there's the other side of the student that needs to like warm up to this, that wants to take it slow, right? I've got students that jump into the program. They're like, let's do this, August. I need this yesterday. This should be happening already. I can't learn it fast enough. I want to dive in. I need to know spirit communication right now. For those of you guys that need to learn that way, or that are ready to learn on that way, that are hungry and ready to dive in and do this, it takes you guys about 90 days. 90 days. All right. Then from there, if this is what you want to do and you just want to kind of go at it and just, you're happy now, you're at that 100% and just go out and share your gift with the world, you're more than welcome to do that. If you want to read professionally, I do encourage you to stay in as long as you want, because now you're going to have the opportunity to go read for other people in these sessions. You'll have an opportunity to do practice supervised readings by me, where I can critique your readings. I can jump in if I need to and help, right? Where you're going to get some real practice with real people, okay? And I'll also be sharing in there too, like how to take this to the next level, right? I have students that come through my program to read professionally that are very well known now. They're booked 6 months, 12 months out, right? They're doing very well for themselves, spreading this and helping people, across the world, all right? And that's exactly why I do this. That's exactly why I don't do readings and I spend all of my time teaching other people, because I have trained so many professional psychic mediums and they are giving way more readings collectively than I ever could, okay? And that's why I do what I do, all right? And so that's what it's like in my program. That's what my program's like. There's a lot of other stuff, but that's the kind of the gist of it. But the first thing that you need to do in order to get into my mentorship program is book an interview. And you can do that by going to the comments or on my profile. There'll be a link here in the comments or on my profile somewhere around this video, or on my main profile. You can click the link and schedule an interview.